How you doing, Instagram and Facebook? Good morning. Also to Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. Good morning, you guys. And Trovo in Europe. So we're going to get started. So most people understand that when you speak in front of people or sing in front of people, you become confident. They just don't know specifically how it works. We're going to discuss that today on the live. Now, yesterday we were talking about transmuting fear, how you can make fear work for you, and how you can transmute it into positivity, how you could take fear and turn it into positivity. Now, raising your vibration, okay, using gratitude, music, movement, meditation, to shift your emotional state was one of those things. So today we're going to discuss vocalization, the two types of vocalization, how it works, and how your voice can heal you. Okay, because most people don't know that. Good morning, Jay. Good morning. So most people don't know. So here's the lowdown, okay? It's a hormonal response that happens in your brain when your brain is triggered by straight tones, okay, pushed out in force, or let's say velocity. So think energy, frequency, vibration, and velocity. Okay, so Nikola Tesla told us if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, there's something else. There's velocity or strength or wind speed, and this is done through your voice. So if you're just singing a song, right, you're just singing. But now if you're pushing tones out really, really strongly, you start triggering hormones. So I put up this science of confidence from the website. It's on the website. You can read it at hereforyoulifecoaching.com. Okay, so we're gonna discuss it. So what this does is it reduces stress and overwhelm. Are you overwhelmed? Are you stressful? So there's certain things that God gave you that you can heal yourself with. Okay, one of them is your voice. So you can reprogram limiting beliefs. You can strengthen your presence and authority. You can unlock your true emotional freedom. Okay, or you can have your true emotional freedom. Okay, now these things I'm talking about, number one, endorphins. Number two, oxytocin. Now your neurotransmitters start firing when you do this, when you produce tones through your voice in this manner. And this is why it works so well with my life coaching clients. Now my life coaching clients are actually, I call them high performance professionals because that's the kind of jobs that they have. I'm talking about like an emergency room nurse. I'm talking about CEOs. I'm talking about attorneys. I'm talking about people who have very vigorous schedules, very vigorous jobs that bring about a lot of worry, a lot of stress. Well, guess what? We get rid of their stress like that. Okay, it takes a few sessions, but they start calming up here, and that happens when your neurotransmitters start firing. So you're talking about endorphins and oxytocin being triggered. Also dopamine. Okay, dopamine is like the reward neurotransmitter. Okay, that rewards you for something. So the reward is a good feeling. Okay, so along with endorphins, it works similarly. It works almost the same way. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. Okay, so when oxytocin is triggered, like when you go out on that first date and you're attempting to bond with somebody, right? You trigger oxytocin, okay, depending on how you do things. So now the other thing it does is it lowers GABA. So GABA calms the nervous system, right? Reducing anxiety and internal chatter. So it actually starts to calm. You start to calm inside. Your GABA levels actually increase a little bit. Your cortisol levels reduce. Okay, so cortisol is the fight or flight syndrome thingy. Okay, and cortisol is what makes you stressful. Okay, or like let's say fearful in some instances, depending on what the circumstances are. So what this does is it triggers it through your voice. Okay, now what happens when you become calm? What happens when you do this process? Well, you get a little lightheaded at first, okay, but that's the first sign. We make no medical claims, so we're not going to say it's a symptom, okay, but that's the first sign. Okay, so the first sign is that. The second sign is confidence starts kicking in. You start believing in yourself. Why? Because your vibration is being raised. Okay, so essentially, you tune a human being the same way you tune an instrument, through frequency. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, now, how do you tune a human being? Well, you tune them through their voice. and you take their voice higher and higher and higher, and you stretch those muscles out. Now, what happens when the frequency starts working? What happens when the frequency starts triggering the hormones? Well, it floods your brain with these hormones, and then you begin to calm over time. So we don't want to call them treatments, okay, because we're not making medical claims, but let's call them sessions. So over the course of several sessions, overthinking goes away, anxiety goes away or diminishes. Okay, it starts to diminish. Eventually, it goes away. Okay, because anxiety is brought about by thought. Okay, fear is a thought. When you experience fear, it's because of what you're thinking. Okay, if you don't have the thought, you don't have the fear. And when your neurotransmitters begin firing, and these chemicals start flooding your brain, guess what happens? You start to relax, and we call relaxation or calm confidence, and then everything is clear. Okay, no more racing thoughts, no more anxiety, no more overthinking. My teenagers just mellow out. My teenagers that I have, they just become really chill and really laid back. Okay, and really open. So we always use the example like this, right? So my clients come to me like this, and then they start going like this, like this. They open, 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 open. This is receptive. Okay, this is open. This is open to new things and ideas. Okay, the other visual I use is like this. Okay, they come like this, right? And then they start relaxing. They go like this, like this, like this, and open. Okay, so this happens through the voice. Now, what's the other type of vocalization? Well, the other type of vocalization, the other kind, is you need to speak your affirmations. So once you're writing your affirmations, okay, so if you write, I am so happy and grateful now that, and write what you want. Now that I feel confident. Now that I am confident. Now that I am whatever it is, okay? And you can insert that belief. Now what you're doing is you're programming your subconscious. Okay, there is only the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious. So the conscious mind is the frontal lobe of your brain that thinks a million thoughts a day. The most predominant thoughts become programs in your subconscious because a belief is a thought you keep thinking. Okay, now it takes some time for that to happen with some people. Some people it's faster than others. It all depends on how conditioned you are into your current state. Okay, what do you believe in your current state? So you need to ask yourself that question. What do I believe about this? What do I believe about that? Okay, and first of all, like we discussed yesterday, determine where the fear is coming from. Where is the fear coming from? It's coming from a thought. Okay, but what are you thinking that is producing fear? Okay, when you identify these things, you can remedy the problem. Okay, now people go to therapy. Okay, here's the scenario that I use of therapy. Okay, when you articulate problems, okay, or let's say it another way, when you speak of the things that are bothering you, you are reinforcing it into your subconscious. Okay, now some people use therapy constructively and some people use it destructively. How is it destructive? Well, you know the guys that just go and complain, so they use the therapist as a sounding board, to like complain to or to vent to. Okay, so venting sounds like a good thing, right? Vent, you vent like an air vent, right? You're venting. It sounds like a good thing, but what you do is you reinforce the issues. Okay, you re-articulate the trauma. So you're reinstating the trauma, you're reinstating the issues because your subconscious doesn't know if you're complaining or if you're giving it instructions. Okay, just like your subconscious doesn't know if you're talking to somebody else or judging someone else or if you're judging yourself. Okay, so when you speak against somebody else, guess what happens? It goes into your subconscious. Now, your subconscious is not just a state of mind, okay? Your subconscious is all of your senses, okay? What you see, what you taste, what you smell, what you hear, okay? Now, the top two things that you can affect your subconscious with are visuals and audio, okay? Visuals, because, your subconscious recognizes you over everybody else. The mirror is very powerful. Okay, what you say in the mirror to yourself, Okay, because your subconscious recognizes your voice. Okay, so use your voice positively. Use your voice as your power. Okay, because when you're using your voice constructively, you're helping. Okay, you're helping this one. When you use your voice destructively, you're hurting this one. Okay, how can I use my voice constructively? Well, you remember those I ams? So I always tell you, the first thing I have my clients do is write 100 positive I ams about themselves. I am kind. I am honest. I am grateful. I am loving. I am generous. I am, right? 100 of them. Okay? Now stand in front of the mirror and read them out loud to yourself. Okay? When you first do this, it's going to feel crazy. It's going to feel crazy until you start feeling better. Then you start feeling empowered. Then you start feeling strong. Okay? The only thing that can disrupt it is you allowing exterior or external sources to interrupt that. In other words, allow someone else to say something bad about you and you buy into it, you believe it. Okay? So there was an old expression, it's called talk to the hand. It's called talk to the hand. Okay? So when we didn't want to hear something from somebody, we would talk to the hand. Talk to the hand. So yeah, at some point you have to let them talk to the hand. Okay, but if you absorb it, if you think about it, it will turn into negative self-talk. And what's negative self-talk? That's the talk we tell ourselves about ourselves that's not good. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, it rationalizes us out of dreams. It rationalizes us out of goals. It rationalizes us out of everything. How does that work? Well, let's say you have an idea that comes from your right hemisphere of your brain, the creative side of your brain, where Jesus lives, at the right, okay? Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father for a reason, okay? Because that's where intuitive thought comes from. That's where intuition comes from, the right hemisphere. Now, the left hemisphere is your logic brain. Let's say, for example, you have an idea for a business. Oh, I have an idea for a business. And you get it in the right brain, intuition, right? So now you're going to take the baby steps towards the business, right? And your left brain begins to work. And your left brain, which is logic, starts to rationalize you out of it slowly. You know, well, remember what happened the last time you thought about starting a business? That didn't go too well. You remember, like, nobody in our family ever went into business. You know, that's a silly idea, right? Okay, and you start thinking logically about these things. And what happens? Slowly but surely, you convince yourself that your intuitive thought that you got is not worth pursuing. Not worth pursuing. And then you get distracted back into the physical matrix. What's the physical matrix? The everyday world. Okay, and that there is evidence in that world. There is evidence, okay, outside of your mind, okay, that will suck you into other realities. And those realities will present themselves as obstacles. Why? Because, well, it costs money to ride the bus. It costs money to put gas in the car. It costs money to do this, that. And you look at that and you weigh that and you go, oh yeah, I had a silly idea. So, you know, Colonel Harlan Sanders had a silly idea. He had this recipe, right? And he tried over and over to get somebody to take a look at it. He got about 1,000 no's. And then all of a sudden, when he was old, he was old already. Okay, he was an older gentleman. And somebody goes, yeah, you know, that idea makes sense. Now, if he would have listened to his left brain, I'm sure he would have given up. Maybe after the 3rd no. Maybe after the third no, that constitutes enough evidence to, well, yeah, it's a silly idea. But he didn't take no for an answer. So what happens when you don't take no for an answer? Well, your subconscious works with the superconscious. The superconscious is God, or however you believe. Okay, I'm not here to tell you how to believe. Okay, in my mind, it's God. For me, it's God. For me, God is real. Okay. But somehow, along the way, the superconscious will bring the right people into play. It'll bring the right circumstances into play. It will start to open the doors slowly, like this, okay? And yeah, you're gonna have no's. You're gonna have disappointments. You're gonna have no's. You're gonna have rejection. You're gonna have all of that. But that's no reason to quit. I didn't quit. I never quit. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. Okay, I'm not here, saying I'm the end all expert dude. No, I'm still working on it. I'm still building companies. Okay. But here's the thing, if you give up just because you don't know how, or you can't figure out how, just understand the how is God's job. Okay? The how is God's job, not your job. Your job is only to know what and why and keep trying. That's your job. To keep trying, keep at it, be persistent. Persistence means even if the door closes in your face, you're going to go to another door. You're going to pivot. So this door closes, okay, pivot. Pivot is an entrepreneurial term. It means if this doesn't work and we spend too much time doing this and this isn't working, we pivot. We go over there until this doesn't work. And then we pivot again until that doesn't work. Then we pivot back here until this doesn't work. And what's the result? The result is one of these pivots are going to hit. Okay, then this may take some time. Sometimes it's a little time, sometimes it's a long time. In Colonel Sanders' case, Kentucky Fried Chicken wasn't born until after the 1,000th time. Henry Ford came out with the Model T, right? So many times his engineers came back. He said, this is impossible. This is not going to work. He didn't accept it. He said, no, go back to the drawing board. Do it again, do it again, do it again. Howard Hughes was the same way. All of these people in history that have known this, okay, have known one thing. They know that if you keep taking the baby steps towards something, it cannot not succeed. It's impossible. Why? Because God lives in here. God lives in you. God is in here. Okay? But there's a lot of people say they believe in God. Oh yeah, I believe in God. Oh yeah, God is real. Yeah, I go to church every Sunday. Yeah, I donate money. Yeah, I do all that. Yeah, I wear the He is greater than I t-shirt. Yeah, I do all of that. I do all of that. And then they give up on something. Some of them get divorced. Some of them give up on whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship. Doesn't matter if it's a business. Doesn't matter if it's yourself. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay? There's no reason to give up on anything if you believe in it. And all you have to do is believe this. Okay? If you believe in this, you can accomplish anything. But when people put doubt on you or place doubt in you, then you begin to question with the left brain, logically. Well, maybe Bob's right. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a CEO. Maybe Bob's right. Maybe I can't be a pharmacist. Maybe Bob's right. Maybe I should just keep digging ditches for a living or whatever. Okay, I'm here to tell you that ditch diggers make a lot of money. Okay, don't put them. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying. Okay. Everyone is important and every dream is realized as long as the steps keep being taken. It cannot not succeed. It cannot not happen. I was sleeping on a sidewalk in 1980. 1980, I was sleeping on a sidewalk. The funniest thing, When I was on the sidewalk, I wasn't complaining. When I was on the sidewalk, I wasn't like, oh, poor me, I'm on a sidewalk. No, I wasn't that way at all. That wasn't what was going on at all. I was having fun. I was on an adventure, right? I was on this adventure. And I'll never forget, like, in my mind, I just knew that one day I was going to do stuff. I just knew the street was temporary. I just knew sleeping on the sidewalk I was just having fun at the time. And I knew there would be an end to it someday, one day, right? It was coming. And sure enough, one day everything came back. And I threw it all away. I threw everything away, threw my family away, I threw everything away. How does that happen? Because you attract who you are in addition to what you want. In the Bible, it says, God knows your heart. Okay? Okay, well, that's another way of saying that the superconscious knows your subconscious and everything stored in your subconscious, your core beliefs. Your core beliefs will attract whatever it is that's in there because like attracts like. Energetically, everything is energy. Everything is energy, no matter how you look at it. So you attract who you are 24/7, 365, all the time. Okay, you attract who you are in addition to what you want. So yes, you can have what you want. You can do what you want. I wanted, if I had my way, I would be with the clique. I would be doing entertainment still. I would be, of course, nobody wants to look at an old man, right? But I would be doing that. But God said, no, 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 you go over here, you teach. You go over here, you teach. It's time for you to teach now. But I had fun. I had success with that. I had a bunch of success with that. And then now I have to do this. Okay. Because life changes. Okay. And the last thing you want to do is do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Because you're going to get the same result, same result, same result, same result. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a better result. So if you've gotten good results from something, remember that life is short. And when you remember life is short, you go, oh, maybe I want to try that over there. My mom started painting in her early 80s. And nobody knew she could paint. She didn't know. She never drew in her life. She never painted in her life. And she paints beautiful orchids. Like, they're awesome. In her 80s. Okay, and we discussed neuroplasticity the other day, and that's what that is. Neuroplasticity. Look it up. We discussed it in detail the other day. Okay, when you fire new neurons that form new pathways because you learn a new skill. Some people live the same life, okay, and I'm talking about good and bad, same life over and over and over and over and over and over and over until one day over here, life runs out. Okay, we're all going to be topsoil, like it or not. Life is going to run out one day. 100 years from now, we will all be dead. And the new generation will take over, and the next generation will take over, and all of them will have their turn. But this is your turn. And if you're watching me now, you're pretty wealthy compared to the general population of the world. If you're watching me now, you have a cell phone. You're pretty wealthy. There's so many people out of the 7.2 billion on the planet that don't have cell phones. They don't have computers. They don't have jobs. They don't have showers. They don't have hot and cold running water. So start your gratitude practice. Start your gratitude practice and understand that you can speak things into existence. Vocalization. You can tune a human being the same way you tune an instrument, through their voice. So if you go to Here For You Life Coaching on Google, I'll show you where it is so you can see it, so you can go to it. Because sometimes it's easier than if I say it, and I get flagged on TikTok. But here it is. So this is Here For You Life Coaching, and that's the Google site. The website's attached to that, and there's 44 5-star ratings. We don't get anything less than 5 stars because this changes people's lives. If you're wondering like how long it takes, like, oh uncle, how long does it take? How long does this take? Well, on the average, 3 to 4 months. But I have to tell you that my core client base right now has been with me for about almost 4 years. 4 years. But these people are professionals, so they write me into their budget. This is my community service here. Hey Marcus, good morning. Good morning, brother. Not too much, same old, same old. Today we're discussing vocalization. So yeah. But here's the thing, right? If you take your worries and your problems from yesterday, okay, and now you bring them into today. Now you're reliving all that stuff today. Tomorrow when you wake up, because you have a memory, you're bringing all of this into tomorrow. And then the next day, and the next day, and the next day. If you don't reinstall new beliefs into your subconscious, and that's that insanity thing, right? You're repeating the same thing over and over and over, expecting different results, and you never get the different results, and you're like, oh man, how come things aren't getting better? How come I get the same thing happens over and over and over? Drama happens over and over and over. Why? Because this one is stuck on drama. This one is stuck. Okay, when I say this one, I'm just mean your subconscious. It's stuck. Now let's take a look at the tree. Okay, the roots of the tree are your subconscious core beliefs. Okay, those are formed from when you're born to 7 years old. Okay, now the majority of those you will keep for your lifetime. You can change maybe 15 to 20% of them. Okay, now let's look at the trunk of the tree. This is your paradigm. Your paradigm is how you see the world based upon what you believe. Now, your paradigm causes your actions. Okay, so based upon how you see the world, what you believe, your perception, okay, now your behavior is the fruits of the tree on the top. And those fruits are your actions and habits that turn into results. So how does that work? Well, what results are you getting? The law of correspondence tells us that everything in here is reflected out here. So if you're sitting at your desk right now at work, take a look at your desk. Is it nice and orderly? Congratulations, you're orderly in here. Is it a mess? Is it like thrown all over the place? Is it things all messy, out of order? It's out of order in here. Everything out here is a reflection of everything in here. Okay, now for others, for other people, okay, everything out here reacts to everything in here. Okay, that is also the law of correspondence. So everything out here will react differently if you fix this one. You adjust this, everything out here adjusts. Everything out here adjusts. And that's why my clients see me. And my clients see me because, but today we're talking about the vocalization part. Okay, when you speak things into existence, it sounds like magic. It sounds like witchcraft. It sounds like voodoo. It's not, it's your subconscious. I'll break this whole thing down for you. Your subconscious is always listening. Your subconscious works with the superconscious, or what we call consciousness or God. So when you experience these coincidences, right? Oh, you know, I was thinking about working at that hot dog place, and then, you know, I met this guy. Like he knows the manager of that hot dog place. Now I have an appointment to go for a job interview at that place. And then a week later, oh, guess what? I got a job. It's really crazy. I got a job at the hot dog place. Coincidence? But I can tell you something. If you live a deliberate life with one of these, and I'll show you what I mean, okay? If you deliberately design your life, okay, these are affirmations. This is not Okay, this is not anything else. These are affirmations. Okay, these are daily affirmations. But you can design your life with one of these because you can tell your subconscious what you're going to do tomorrow, the night before. And the whole night that you're sleeping, your subconscious is thinking about it. Your subconscious is running your breathing. Your subconscious is running all your vital signs, your heartbeat, everything. But it's also thinking. You ever think about something and then you dream it? You ever think about something maybe for a couple days and then you have a dream about it? Maybe the dream doesn't make sense, but you dream about it. Okay, that's your subconscious. So there's only the conscious, subconscious, superconscious, and the method is only affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. There is nothing else. So prayer is also important. Ask, believe, receive. It's in Mark 11:23 in the Bible. It's in Matthew in what is it? 27, 20. I don't know. I have a whole list. We went through the list last week. Okay, but there's so many scriptures in the Bible, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Talmud. It's in the Quran. It's in everything. But it's talking about in here. It's talking about the human being. It's talking about your power. Because God lives in here. God lives in everyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're aware of it or not. And it's not something you have to believe in. Okay, it might be new information for you, like it is for all of my clients when they first come in. And when I tell them about this, it sounds kind of crazy, right? What? Your voice? You can change your life through your voice? Vocal expression? What? You can speak things into existence? Oh yeah. Yeah. Now that might take a little while, but if you do all four together, affirmations, vocalization, visualization, and meditation, okay, and prayer, pray at the same time, okay, because prayer is asking, okay, meditation is listening, meditation is getting your divine messages. We can say it another way. We can say God speaking to you. We can say Jesus speaking to you. We can say Allah speaking to you. We can say superconscious speaking to you. Intuitive thought. Pay attention to intuitive thought. Don't take it for granted. That's when you get that thought that you should turn right at this stoplight and you dismiss it with your free will because you have free will. And you say, no, that's okay. I'm not going to pay attention to that. And then you get stuck in the traffic jam and you go, what? Right, Marcus? He likes that. Right on, Marcus. Thank you, man. But you get stuck in the traffic jam. What do you say? You go, I knew I should have turned back there. Yeah, you should have. Because however you believe, if you believe in God, if you don't believe in God, then it's consciousness, then it's superconscious. If you don't believe in that, then it's, then you believe you're all that and you're the only thing that exists, then okay, then believe that. But that's what that is. When you get that feeling, that instinct, and then what do you say afterwards? I knew I should have bet $50 on that in Vegas. I knew I should have. Right, the next guy that came, right, he won $1 million, and I was right there. And if I just listened to that intuition and played one more, like I would have got that, right? Whatever. I'm just making it funny. I'm just making it fun. Okay, but this is serious. That your subconscious is a real thing. So you can develop good habits as fast as bad habits. Now with vocalization, your voice is powerful. In the Bible, God speaks the world into existence. He speaks and it happens. So when you speak, it happens. You're distracted a lot because you have eyes, so you're looking around. But your subconscious is listening. Okay, so when you say something bad about somebody, just turn the end around to a positive. Because otherwise it'll go in your subconscious, and your subconscious does not know if you're talking about somebody else or if you're talking about yourself. So if you're like, Bob, he's so stupid, but yeah, he's been my buddy for 12 years. We're really close. I like that guy. I like him anyway, right? Now, what is your subconscious? Your subconscious goes, oh, okay. Bob's cool. But it can't distinguish between you and Bob, so it goes, oh, you're cool. There you go. Now, when you're writing affirmations, just a side note, okay, because I like to branch out and cover a lot of area so that you don't need to watch tons of these things, okay, tons of these lives. But when you're writing affirmations, remember that God, the universe, consciousness, all of that, okay, whatever, however you believe, does not recognize negatives. So when you're writing, you can't say, I will not smoke anymore, because that translates out to, I will smoke anymore, and you won't quit smoking. You'll keep smoking. You'll empower yourself to smoke more. Okay, instead, right, it feels good to breathe clean air. Or I am so happy and grateful now that I breathe clean air. Thank you. There you go. Always put thank you at the end. Express gratitude. I express gratitude for everything. I don't take anything for granted. Now, on the visual level for visualization, okay, so this is my gratitude board. Okay, lately I've put up the gratitude board. I started with my for my new lease for my car. So this is the vision board for my new lease that I'm my lease is up next year, so I was using this as a target. So you have to give your mind a target. Okay, the reason why you get overwhelmed, the reason why you overthink, the reason why you get all these thoughts, right, where your mind and your imagination starts to build this big monster for you to deal with, is because you're not directing your mind. When you direct your mind, you direct your thoughts. Okay, you don't have to put it to sleep with drugs. You don't have to, I have to put my brain to sleep. I have ADHD, so the H is the hyper part. Okay, so yeah, there comes a time where I go, okay, yeah, I have to put this brain to sleep. But a lot of people don't have ADHD, yet they're plagued by these thoughts, and these thoughts form the prison in here. The prison's in here, okay, and those thoughts form the prison. Now, what does that do? Well, that keeps you in hell. That keeps you living in hell. Okay, so however you want to say it, okay, but yeah, the prison is here, and that's a terrible place to live, and that's a terrible way to live. So you can liberate yourself from there very easily. Write it, think it, speak it. But you have to do it in order, and you have to know how to do it. So we cover all of these things on our lives because it's important, because this is my public service. Okay, my clients are, I'm very pricey. My clients are professionals. So they hire me, they create budgets for me, and they come to see me. And as a result, they all get raises, they all get better, they all get, so everything that gets better in here attracts everything from here. Esther Hicks puts it another way. She calls it a vortex. You can call it the vortex. You can call it, superconscious. You can call it all of that. But everything that's yours is being held vibrationally away from you. And your goodness is like this, trying to get to you, but it can't get to you. Because these thoughts, okay, negativity, all of that, like this, it's just like this. It's like a barrier. It's like you've created a bubble for yourself. Okay, now when this comes down, when this dissipates, then your blessings come to you. So when you clear this one, right, everything automatically comes. Why? Because your life path automatically unfolds. It's automatic. Because you all have blessings. You all have gifts. Everyone is born with a gift. Everyone. Life is a gift. But along the way, you develop these little things that you have a natural knack for. And a lot of these things come down the gene pool. And a lot of these things are just natural. So do you need to be educated? Well, for certain things. For certain things. I had this discussion this morning with someone, and I said, yeah, if you want to be a dental hygienist, or you want to be a nurse, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a pharmacist, yeah, you need to be educated. There's a certain way to do things. But some things don't require that. But then education in itself, okay, to educate someone, is to teach them how to think. So a lot of my clients need help getting out of the box. And when their vibration is raised through their voice, they can lift themselves out of the box, look back in the box, and navigate that box a lot easier. Because there's nothing up here to prevent that. There's nothing holding them back up here. Okay, the prison is here. All I do is unlock the prison. That's it. And everything flows. Everything goes into flow state. And the funny part about it is that I can talk to them about it because they've been through it. They understand it. They can't talk to their coworkers because they'll think they're crazy. They don't understand how they've been conditioned into the system. They don't understand. They don't get it. A lot of people watching my lives don't get it. They go, oh, what's he talking about? Conditioned into the system. We were all conditioned into the system. That's why our slogan is opening eyes, hearts, and minds since 2010 for Here For You Life Coaching. It's breaking free of the physical matrix. You can be in the system, but not of the system. Christians have an expression. They say, you can be in the world, but not of the world. And how do you go about doing this? How does this magic happen? Well, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Today we were talking about the vocalization aspect of it. But you can speak the dream. There's this thing called speak the dream. It used to be a thing. It used to be a catchphrase. And they would say, speak the dream. Because you have to articulate it. Do you have to tell everybody about your dream? No. That's the fastest way to end your dream. Okay? Don't go around sharing it with people that aren't ready to hear it. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, you need to speak it out loud to yourself. You need to declare it to yourself. You need to pronounce it to yourself. And you need to make that pronouncement daily. Make it all day long if necessary. Tell yourself. Okay, if you tell other people, they'll think you're crazy, and then pretty soon you'll think you're crazy because they said you're crazy. And some people don't. Marcus just said, this is perfect. Marcus said, some people just don't deserve to hear it. That's absolutely correct. Thank you, brother. That's my brother in San Antonio, Marcus. He's on Instagram. We have an Instagram camera over there. We have a Facebook camera over here. We have international camera over here that goes to TikTok and everywhere else. And yeah, so you need to really be aware of these things. You need to really, really be aware of these things. Good morning. Hi, guys. Hi, TikTok. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm going to get to questions and see if I can get to answers right now. Let me just move things around on my desktop. There we go. Intention. Ara, good morning, Ara. Hi. Afrocentric, good morning. Leo, good morning. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Lisa's living the dream. Hi, Lisa. So yeah, and this is Trina Muhammad. Hi, Trina. And Jay, of course, is our moderator. You can also. Oh, okay. I see. Breaking down the matrix. Yeah. So you don't have to break the matrix. It's not the idea of breaking the matrix. You have to navigate the matrix and understand, first of all, what the matrix is and what it is not. Okay, the matrix doesn't need to control you. You can be independent of the matrix and still be in the matrix and still bring all the goodness into your lives. It doesn't matter. You pay Caesar what is Caesar's, right? We pay our tax, we go by the rules, we follow the laws, right? But inside of all of that is this. And inside of this is the divine or God or superconscious, okay? And people go, oh, but isn't that black magic or witchcraft or voodoo? No, it's not. Absolutely not. You are designed like this. You're a human being. You're a human being, the highest life form on the planet. Okay. And all these control mechanisms are in place, making you feel less than, making you feel small, making you feel powerless. But when you discover these things and when you put these things into action, step by step by step, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, it cannot not happen. It cannot not happen. I don't care if it's a girl you want, or if it's a guy you want, or if it's a husband or wife you want, or if it's a toy you want, or whatever. Yeah, I got to the point where I had too many toys. I had to stop buying toys. I like, and I started giving away my toys. I give away my toys. I never sell stuff. I give it away. And this is, another thing. In addition to gratitude, generosity is very, very important, because if you want something in your life, give it first. Always. Always. Get in the habit of giving as a rule for yourself. Gratitude and generosity as a rule, because when you give something first, okay, if you want to say the universe, if you want to say God, if you want to say Jesus Christ, if you want to say consciousness, if you want to say whatever, superconscious, whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it that, okay, it will start giving to you. There is an energy greater than you, okay, and that energy is connected to here, okay, and that energy will bring you what you want, as long as you don't give up and you're persistent. Okay, you don't even have to plan. If you plan, that suggests that you go, okay, if I do A, B, C, I'm going to end up at D. And it doesn't necessarily go down that way. You plan A, B, C, D, okay, A, B, and then you get taken out to left field and boom, there's your dream. There's your manifestation. You want to call it manifestation, or you want to call it accomplishing a goal? There's your goal. Manifestation has been made to sound like magic. It's not magic. It's magic in the sense that you're a human being, but it's not magic in the abracadabra sense, right? And abracadabra means speak it into existence. So, yeah, you can speak it into existence, but what's the magical element? It's your subconscious. You're a human being. If you tell your subconscious what you want, okay, in the form of, I am so happy and grateful with my pen. I am so happy and grateful now that I have $100 extra this month. Thank you. I can't tell you how many times I did that just to test it. And when I started doing this back in 2007, I was writing for all kinds of stuff, parking spaces. I even filmed it once. So I started filming down the road from this shopping center where the Starbucks was, and my favorite parking spot was there. And I used to focus on that parking spot all the time before I got there. And one day I said, okay, I'm gonna record this. I have it somewhere in my phone somewhere. When I find it, I'll post it and I'll tell you guys where it is. But I started filming before I got to the shopping center, and I said, watch this. It's gonna be the first. It's gonna be that far space on the far right hand space, whatever, right outside of Starbucks. And I came in, and the car was just reversing out, and I was shooting live video. And I said, there, see, there it is. And then there's this other shopping center that we have, and I always focus on the same parking spot at the shopping center, and I always get the same parking space. And when I started breaking that focus, in other words, when I didn't think of the parking space as I was on the way to the shopping center, I didn't get the space. That's an example of the subconscious working with the superconscious. Okay, so when you make a plan, and you make a 6-step plan, and step number 4, some weird things happen, or you just so happen to meet the right person to introduce you to the right person that introduces you to the right person that gets you the job at that company, that kind of thing. That's the superconscious at work with the subconscious. You can say it another way. You can say that's God working. but that's the way God works. Okay, now you can live a random life and just wait for things to happen. You know, like, well, I wonder what's going to happen today. And then you react to it, and that sets up another bunch of circumstances, right? You can live a random life like that, or you can deliberately plan what's going to happen by doing this. Very easy. Affirmations, vocalization, visualization, and meditation. Meditation, 10 minutes, that's all you need. 10 minutes of stillness. Be still for 10 minutes. It's very difficult to do. If you're not used to it, it's very difficult to do. Be still for 10 minutes. Our society is so based on stimulus now. Okay, stimulus. Like this. Oh my God, I can't believe I saw that. Oh my goodness, I can't believe he did that. Oh wow, I can't believe she posted that. Like that. Stimulus. Okay, it's pressing that dopamine button over and over and over and over and over. And then what? Then it's not enough. But where does that habit come from? Your subconscious. How do you get rid of it? Your subconscious. You change it. Okay, now you don't have to, you know, like for me, I work here. I live and work on this thing. I live and work on this thing. So there's other things that I do. The meditation is very important for me. The timeouts are very important for me. Because I need a break with stimulus. And I really don't get dopamine hits. Sometimes if somebody writes something to me, you know, it's funny or whatever, or it's a compliment or something's touching or whatever like that. Yeah, but you know, very, very seldom do I get angry when I see something. It doesn't trigger me in that way. But yeah, when people say something, you feel good, right? You get a good reaction from somebody, you feel good, right? That's the dopamine. Okay, so it goes against meditation in the way that you're constantly used to this. And then now you have to put it down and be still and close your eyes and be still for 10 minutes. That's a big job. That's a big job. Start with 5 minutes and use your timer. Okay? Here, I'll show you guys. So when you set your timer, okay, so I do 30 minutes. My timer is set for 30 minutes, like that. And just press the button and put your phone down. And just tell yourself you're not gonna get up until the chimes go off. And use chimes so it doesn't shock you back into reality. Okay, and you don't have to do a mantra. If you want a good mantra, do Hawaiian Ho'oponopono. Okay, it'll clear the slate. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. There you go. It will clear the slate. It's like taking a dry eraser and erasing the dry erase board. Okay, I'm sorry, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And just say it over and over, you know, say it out loud a few times and then over and over to yourself in your head. So, the things that you think are insurmountable are very easily attainable. Very easily attainable. Okay? But you have to do like executives do. You have to do like successful people do. You have to write it, you have to think it, and you have to speak it. When you become distracted, because we have eyes, we're easily distracted. Right? Pretty girl? Oh, whoa, who's that? Okay, pretty car? Whoa, what kind of car? Wow, that's a Lamborghini. Whoa, right? Easy to be distracted. Okay, self-discipline is a term that I use only occasionally. Okay, I rather use the word habit, get into the habit of something. It's so easy for a human to get in the habit of something. It's so easy. You know, I use the cookie analogy. Okay, Jay's heard this 100,000 times. First you try the cookie, go, wow, that cookie was good. Can I have another cookie? Oh yeah, sure, here. Next cookie. Oh, where did they buy these cookies? Oh, Costco? Now you're at Costco, standing in line, and you've got a cookie habit. Okay, so can you have a positive habit the same way? Oh yeah, easy. Okay, and today we're talking about vocalization, so speak it. Speak it over and over and over and over again. I'm so happy and grateful now that I arrive at work on time. I am so happy and grateful now that I arrive at work on time. And write it. I am so happy and grateful now that I arrive at work on time. And you will be punctual because your subconscious will filter out things that are not conducive to arriving at work on time. Your reticular activating system in your brainstem will start to filter out things that are not conducive to you arriving at work on time. If you're on a diet and you're working on your subconscious, when you pass the dessert table with all those beautiful cakes and pies and everything on it, right? You're going to take a look at it. Your subconscious is going to go, oh, dude, you're on a diet, right? Or we're on a diet, right? See? And you're going to think twice, and then you're going to go, nah, I can pass. I can pass. And that's the way it works. Okay? God is in here. God lives in here. And all you do is use this power. And the physical matrix has nothing over you. The physical matrix has no power because you can be in the world and not of the world. Okay? You do have to follow the laws. You do have to follow the rules. You do have to pay taxes. You do have to adhere to work policies at work. Okay? But you're in here. You're in here. Whatever you call this, a spirit. If you call this a soul, spirit, energy, it's all of that. You're in here. This is your body. You're not your body. You're not your name. You live in here. When you come from that perspective, when you realize that what's in here can never die, that you just leave the body behind, your energy goes. Your spirit goes. It goes on to another experience. It's not a heaven or hell experience. That's what you get here while you're living. You get heaven here or you get hell here while you're living, while you're in the physical body. The body is the temple. The kingdom is within. All day long. Some of these things you'll never hear in a church. There's a reason. Don't get me started on 501c3 churches. You're not going to like what I have to say. Okay? But it's a corporation. It's a business. It's there for a reason. It serves people. Okay? It serves a purpose. But I'm talking about in here. And that's the magic that you have. That's the power that you have. Because God lives in here with you. Okay? And all you have to do is use that energy. The devil lives in here with you too. Either way. You pick and choose. You pick and choose. There's only one energy. Only love. Love is the only energy. Because you were born into that energy. And then life happens. And some of us leave that energy behind. And we get so involved in fighting and anger, those things become habits. Through your subconscious. Anger is a habit. Fighting is a habit. Venting is a habit. Negativity is a habit. So is positivity. If you draw the line 50%, right? Positive here, negative here. You choose your side. Okay? As human beings, right? The windshield wiper, we go back and forth. Hopefully, we go positive over here, and once in a while, we hit negative over there. Nobody's perfect, myself included. Okay, all right. And thank you, Jay, for your cue. Thank you very much. Thank you, Aura, for being here. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, guys. See you guys